That's that thigh meat. Look at that. Hello everybody. Sorry about that. Welcome back to another episode of After Dark with Megan and Mo.
Video?
Clearly it is not dark. I'm Mo.
And I'm the lovely Megan.
And we're back at you guys with another episode, and today's topic is
when to have that talk with your children. Birds and the bees, or just as you simply want to put it, the sex talk.
when do you have sex talk with your kids?
That talk.
If it's boys, tell them to go take a cold shower.
If it's a girl, tell her I better not catch your hands down there, I'm going to break them.
Tell them to keep your knees together. Anyway, so when should we have the talk with the kids? For me, it's different. It depends. I know somebody might say that's so, I guess, cliche or whatever, but it's true. It's all about the child, right? You have to kind of monitor the development and see, where they are, if they're ready, because you know what I mean. You don't want to have it too late, but you don't want to be premature. You kind of want to let them grow into themselves and have that talk when they're ready. You know what I mean? So.
But then again, some children may never be ready to have that talk with their parents and may go off and venture into things themselves. Right.
So, I've heard people say it constantly about, man, it's whatever age is this too young? To me, it's never too young. If you feel that the child is ready, if they're asking you questions or their behavior or their mannerism, or you notice something, it's a conversation that you have. It's never too early to start talking to your kids about sex.
And it's a conversation you have to, not you have, but you have to have. Double emphasis, just because curiosity might kill the cat, it just might get to them, and you might walk in the room and they're, propositioning one of their dolls or one of their siblings, and then, we've kind of.
So as I was saying, it's all about. There's no such a thing as the child is too young. There's no. I don't believe in that, because everybody develop differently. Mm-hmm. Everybody have feelings at different time. Like a child might start having feelings at 5 years old. And you be like, well, I thought you're not supposed to until you're close to being a teenager. Well, no, not everybody do the same thing, right? I mean, I had sex the first time when I was like 7 years old.
There you go. 7.
We're here to keep it real,
folks.
And remember, we grew up in the time where sex was still kind of taboo. It wasn't a conversation like you don't have with your children, right? It was it was always the big elephant in the room, and then So I feel like parents were afraid to even approach that topic because they were scared. Well, ask yourself this question: would you rather tell them this is through whatever conversation, then this is how you protect yourself? Would you rather educate them on sex?
Or would keep them completely oblivious to,
and then they'll go try and do it the wrong way,
and come home with
and
some
catch a disease or some girl pregnant at 14 years old. You know what I mean? So you cannot be afraid to have that conversation, because
especially as your children start to show signs that they are leaning towards figuring it out. All right, I'm curious. Like, I want to know. I know this is not here in between my legs just to sit here. It has a function other than peeing. Let me find out what it is. I mean, as he explained it, he did it as young as 7. He said it came on him like a fever. There's also a common misconception that people have that if a child that young gets those type of feelings, then gets those type of feelings because either someone molested them or someone touched them inappropriately, or they were exposed to stuff on TV, or maybe there was a carefree attitude amongst their parents. They walked in their parents doing,
well, first of all,
sexual intercourse, and then from there on, now they wanted to know, what to do with it.
In my house, there was none of that. That's number one. The TV didn't come on until 7 p.m. and it was to announce death and do the news.
And that you don't want to have sex to.
And clock out. So there was no what people would like to call like invisible temptation all around you. There wasn't.
As we would say for children here, that this is the reason why. In his case, growing up in Africa, none of that was present, and there he was at 7 years old, gotta dive
It just
in.
comes on you, and then and you know things happen, and then you know, and either you have. So for me now being a father, being a parent, it's not something that I'm scared about when it comes to that conversation. I kind of feel like if I sense it around my kids, you know, we still don't have that. So as embarrassed as they may be, because if I bring girls up, like you know, them having a girlfriend, whatever, you know, but I know what that is. That's just you being kind of embarrassed about the girlfriend talk around your father or your mother.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that is. But if it gets to like, you know, I start seeing stuff or they start asking questions, then we're gonna conversate. You know what I mean?
You have to have that conversation.
There's no way I'm gonna see something happening, and if I know it's from them, you know, it's a behavior that they're exhibiting, and I'm gonna, you know, let's just sweep it about. No, you can't do it on this one. You cannot. I can't stress this enough. As parents, you cannot be afraid to have that conversation.
And as parents, the other thing is, I feel like too much in Western society we tend to put an age bracket on everything.
Yeah.
You know, at this time they should start developing. At this time they'll start, and at this time they'll start this, that, and the third. And like he said, no, that just wasn't the case. Not with him. You know, like at this time is when you should have this sex talk with your kids. No, like he said, you got to have it the minute you notice the behavior. And in his case, he's proof that there was no age bracket for when it came upon him. Apparently, it came upon him at age 7. So we have to kind of, I guess, in the approach of dealing with our kids, get out of these boxes that we put our children in. You know, and too many times that I don't want to say that's why they're dropping down his meal. That hinders us from being able to parent in a functional manner without being surprised by certain actions that our children do. I mean, if you had a blank slate and you don't have these boxes up there around children, you know, age-wise and developmental-wise and all that stuff, and you just see it as a blank slate, it's just kind of open, then when stuff starts filtering its way in, you know, you won't be like, oh, I think they're too young. Oh no, I don't think I should have this conversation. No, you'll be ready for the conversation as it comes, because you know, like you said, every child is different. So you just kind of have to be open. Approach it as open as possible.
And there's something you said that I want to pick it back off real quick, and I'm going to kind of go off subject just for a second. When you mentioned that every child, you know, the development stage of a child is different, right? I'm gonna say something real quick. Our oldest Legend, it took him a while before he spoke, before he, you know, he said a complete word in the sentence. You know what I mean? And then people were like, oh, you know, he's delayed, you know, he has whatever. And my whole thing was, you know what you're talking about. Everybody is different. Prince was talking at 1. I'm not making this up. Prince was talking at 1. Legend didn't talk until 3. Kenji didn't say his first official one until, I don't know, close to similar to Legend. You know what I mean? Noe started talking a little earlier. It took a while to potty train Legend and Kenji. Prince was a lot quicker. Noe was even quicker. When we started, you know, she kind of just picked it up like this. You know what I mean?
But then again, with the whole age bracket thing, we didn't with Noe, we didn't jump into potty training her when people said she should be potty trained.
Well, with any of them, really.
Which was by 2, she should be potty trained.
No.
2, she should be out of diapers. No, I kept Noe in diapers until she was ready to come out of diapers. I put her in underwear, you know, well past her 3rd birthday. She just started wearing underwear. Then after that, you know, she had a couple of accidents, and then we transitioned to the potty. But I didn't jump to put her on the potty before she was ready because of some, you know, box placed around girls and boys at the time in which people think that they should potty train. I waited until Noe was able to understand what I was asking her to do fully, and then we went ahead and we pushed her right into underwear, and then within a couple of days, right onto the potty without no accidents.
Yeah. And like I said before, man, if you catch your kids doing something, if you have, like, you know, boys and girls, and then you catch them doing something, or you catch your boys, or you catch your daughter doing something, it's scary. I know. Okay, I understand that it's scary, but it is very crucial that you have the conversation. They do it. I
And
really
it's
don't.
not like at one point in time it's not going to happen.
It's gonna happen,
Right? That's the end game for all of us.
and that's kind of what I'm saying. Is that I don't care when it happens.
Mhm.
I don't care how young you do. I don't care. I don't care about that. All I care about is that
Well, you do care. I mean, because remember, you do care because it's not your child on the receiving end of it.
Well, yeah,
So you do care,
No,
don't-
I know, but
To raise a predator.
not that. I'm not saying that consensual. I'm not.
But
you know, I'm not
remember,
saying that.
here, the consensual doesn't happen in some places till age 15, 16, and then beyond that.
I know.
So before
what I'm
that,
saying,
it's rape or sexual assault,
okay,
child
well,
molestation.
what I'm
so.
saying in terms of that is that I'd rather have the talk, you know, if they're ready early on, right, to kind of, you know, what basically you give them that education about, okay, you know, this is you know, whatever, you know, this is what you should expect. This is, you know what I mean?
And of
Have
course,
them be
here,
ready.
you're gonna have to say you have to wait. You can't, right? No matter how you feel, what you feel about it, you can't do anything about it now. But in his case, you know, over there really are no laws. It's pretty much lax. So that is why, yes, you do hear him say.
You had laws when you were under the pool at 7 years old?
No, I wasn't under a pool at 7 years old.
Remember you said you are going to the pool, save me?
No, that was drowning. That was Baywatch victim. That was not cunnilingus.
That was not kissing?
It was kissing, but it wasn't,
That's what
it
I'm
wasn't
saying.
sexual intercourse. We're speaking
know.
about having a talk, right?
Yeah, I know, but
so
that's
there's a
all part of
difference.
it,
No,
though.
it's not.
Yes, it is.
Make a distinction.
No,
Because
I
you
know,
just said I don't
but-
care, and I had to put that disclaimer out there that yes, you should care.
But I didn't say that. I wasn't saying that in terms of my son going to just, you know, grab a girl at the park and then drag her. That's not.
So what is your I don't
I'm
care?
talking in
refer to?
terms of when I would say kids, but kids at a certain age playing with, you know, between each other, and they're both, you know, like that's basically what kids experimenting, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Yeah, but
You know?
remember, if they're experimenting and they're fine with it, then fine. Because I
That's what
played
I'm
house too.
That's what
But
that's
if
what I was
their
referring to.
parents catch
No, I
them
know,
playing
but that's
house, then it becomes your son kissed my
But
daughter,
that's what
or
I-
your daughter kissed
I
my
know,
son.
but that's what I was referring to. Usually, when they do it,
So make a
when they do
disclaimer,
it-
or in the comments, there'll be a lot of you guys are perverts.
No,
Dad
no.
seems like he's a kid. Your 7-year-old walked up to another girl and points her.
No, but that's not what I mean. No, but that's not.
make that disclaimer though. is what
Fine,
I'm
you made
saying.
you made a disclaimer. That's not what.
So he's not saying he doesn't care in
That's
general.
not what I'm saying.
Like,
I'm
yeah,
saying,
kids, my kids go out there and do your
No.
thing at 7. This is not Bohicon, okay?
I'm basically saying when they start having those, the moral of the bottom line conclusion of this talk is basically me saying that when you sense that your kids are ready, or you see something, you hear something, whatever, you pull them aside and then you begin to have that conversation.
It's your job to
You
have
know?
the conversation and guide them appropriately. 'Cause
Right.
like I said, here you have to guide them appropriately, or it can turn into a plethora of messes.
And if you have an issue in terms of, you know, well, what do I say first, you know, you can there are, I'm sure there's like a lot of templates on, you know, how you should begin to talk, what you should say first, whatever, you know what I mean. I would just go by how I feel, right? And I think every circumstance is different, but for me it's more like what I see, right? Or what question, you know, my son or my daughter ask me, then we'll go off from there, you know, like we'll basically have the whole talk, you know what I mean? And it's not don't think of it as you know, a nasty thing, or you
No,
know.
because you're not gonna go into detail like
Right,
you
but
just,
it's more
you know,
like it's
how
more,
I tell them all the time that, you know, mommy and daddy had a baby. That, you know,
Yeah.
as you get older, things change. This is what you do. You find somebody you fall in love with. You get together. You lay down. You have a baby. You make a baby. Baby is born, type of thing. Baby comes out of mommy's womb. Okay,
And it's
I
basically-
explain the whole process so that there is no surprise, and that kind of pings back off the fact that, you know, we're pretty much. Not that we are walking around naked, but we're okay with being naked in front of our kids. Because I feel like part of having that sex talk with your children is also part of getting them to be, you know what I mean? Like when you start, ew, girls, and then
Right.
right, because they have that uncomfortability about their body, and you know what I mean? So I feel like having that free stance about not making a big deal about seeing someone naked.
don't make it sound, don't make it awkward, don't make it weird.
Yeah, it just makes it easier to, you know what I mean, to flow in there.
And have that conversation. But you know, like you heard our take on it. What's your take on it? We want to hear from you guys. We want to hear from
Of course,
our little community that we're building up here.
there'll be people who don't agree with it.
That's fine. Hey, I just want to say something. The purpose of us doing these videos is to start a dialogue. This is not a us against you. Let's fight. That's not what this is about.
Nope.
This is adult conversation. So if you have a take on it that's different from ours, then we can have a conversation. If you're, let's say you're like an extremely religious person and you see it completely differently, we can have a conversation. It's not about us against you. It's not about us fighting. We can have adult civilized conversation, and we can agree to disagree in the end, or we can come up with, you know what I'm saying, find a common ground there.
And let's also be clear about something, because I don't want people to think that because we're so loose and free on a lot of topics that means that A, our kids disrespect us, B, our kids walking around groping people, because we don't.
First of all, I gotta say one thing. The one thing compliment that we get about the kids every time
the one compliment that we get
about the kids every time we go out somewhere is always, oh my God, they're so well behaved. You know what I mean? And now we don't always feel that way because we're their parents, so we have some level of expectation,
and we deal with them in a whole different manner than people deal with them when they see them outside.
But we've been in having breakfast in hotel lobbies in the morning, or in the country somewhere, and we've heard it, in the store in the morning, you know what I mean, constantly. So yeah, so we do have, well mannered. As a matter of fact, the other day, I was talking to that guy Charles in the office, and he was like, man, your kids are so well mannered, whatever, because I guess he would see them when you guys go for a walk or whatnot, So yeah, so it has nothing to do with that. We're just having conversation and saying our take on topic, and the way we basically live our life, and we feel like we're comfortable with that. There's nothing weird, nothing crazy going on here.
And I think part of the other reason why, at least for me, that I'm so open and free on a lot of topics, and I feel like there's never not a right time to have these conversations with my children, is because growing up, no one ever had those conversations with me, whether it was about someone touching me inappropriately, or when did I feel ready for sex, or liking boys, my period, you know what I mean? No one ever had those conversations with me. It was just always either disgust or pointing a finger at me, or saying if you didn't like it, you wouldn't have allowed it to happen. There was just never getting me ready for the real world once I left the comfort of my home. And so that's mainly my reason for being as open and allowing certain conversations with the kids, without the taboo or without the guilt, the shame, or disgust that I face.
And that's basically what we do here. That's our job is to pass along information to them, and for them to make their own decision in the end. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have a take on it, go ahead, let's chat down below. If this is your first time, hit that subscribe button and let us know that you're new, so we can chat, we can say hi. And yeah, we'll see you next time on another episode of After Dark with Megan and Mo.
All right, peace.